Right? Hi, I'm Anna Choi with Anna Son Choi LLC, and I help mission-driven entrepreneurs get more clients through business coaching and consulting. And I'm so excited to have here with me my client. He's the founder of Impact Consultancy. So he's going to share a case study of his whole journey of where he started, what it was like working together, and what results he's been able to create thereafter. So Chris, why don't you go ahead and just start with sharing with our audience what you do.
Thanks, Anna. So I am the founder of Impact Consultancy, and we work with mission-driven organizations to help them double their impact in half the time. We find that a lot of organizations are dealing with and struggling with hidden work that sucks their capacity. So we help them free that up so they can do more of the work that they're passionate about.
Good. So our audience here, right, are other mission-driven entrepreneurs, so it could include people who are wanting to make the leap.
Yes.
You know, from the 9 to 5, making great money, but don't know how to get started.
All about that.
Yes, yes. Or it could be somebody who's already in a mature business and they already are actually doing pretty well, but they're at a ceiling and a lid and they just can't break through. So you can kind of speak to both those audiences. So just go and describe, what was your business like before, working together?
Yeah, absolutely. So before we started working together, and we've been working together now for 2 years, I had actually had this dream of launching my own independent consultancy built around what I just described. I wanted to get back into the community and give back in a way that I thought was powerful. And in 5 years previous to us working together, I had launched 3 separate times my consultancy. I had built a website, I had printed business cards, I had shared with my network, I'm here, this is what I'm out here to do. And all 3 times, brand new business names and all that great stuff. I had 3 different licenses come into my home. And all 3 times, things didn't work out the way I had planned them for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, say more about that. So
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I learned was that I would put myself out there and then I just waited for things to happen. I thought folks would just start sending me referrals. I might put out an article, some hot tips or a blog, and would wait for some of the business to come in. And a tiny amount of business did, a very tiny amount, but not what I needed to really launch. And the other thing that was happening for me is I would have things happen in my life. And I put that in quotes because I think most folks saw some of the things that were happening in my life as legitimate reasons to put my business on hold. So for example, the first time that this has happened and I launched my business, my wife was changing jobs. And so we thought, now's not the right time. The second time we found out that my father was diagnosed with cancer. And so he needed the rest of my family to be a part of taking care of his respite. Now's not the right time. And then the third time we were having one of our kids, we have 2 kids. And again, I was like, oh, there's just too much going on. Now's not the right time. So some of that was legitimate, I suppose, but I always used it as a reason to say now's not the right time, right?
And there's never really a right time.
There isn't, when
just like kids are getting married.
When I left, we had just had our second kiddo. I could come up with 2 or 3 other reasons as to why it wasn't the right time. And in fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday who was interested, and she had shared, a reason. And in my mind, I was like, now's the perfect time. But I think I see it differently today, which is part of what I got from our relationship, which what I was looking for. When we first met, I had been looking for someone who was going to develop me and my business. And I started to have a mindset shift just in the first, I think, 30 minutes that we sat down to have a conversation based on growing my business. And what I got from that conversation was, because what I do is coaching and consulting, I had seen coaching and consulting as maybe an expense. When I have the money, I will spend it on coaching and consulting. And what I got from that conversation that was crystal for me was, when I invest in coaching and consulting, it will create and expand the opportunities that are there for me. So I just had to see it differently. And the results have been showing up ever since.
Yes. And where did you get that result? Like, as far as what it was like to work together. So what was it like before and then after? Like, how did you implement the coaching that was happening?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, I'll think about that from a few different aspects. In terms of my mindsets, for example, I didn't see them that way, but I had really small mindsets. They were limiting. Of course, I didn't walk around thinking small mindsets. But for example, I thought it was bold to think that I could make equivalent to my salary that was really great with my employer.
Like 6 figures.
On my own, yeah. I was like, oh, it might take a few years. And everyone would say that, you know, it takes 3 to 5 years. That was small. And now I recognize after our time working together that thinking that way was small. I actually can grow much bigger. I had this mindset from, you know, having been a part of the workforce for a couple decades that I had to control how much work I had to do and have work-life balance. And instead today, I have a different approach to enjoying what I do. I don't make as big a distinction between work and play, and I'm taking on much more than I thought I could. Yeah, I think originally I had a mindset that wouldn't it be great if I could just get a couple people to work with me? And today the question is, who out there, you know, can't wait to begin to work with me? So thinking a little bit small before in terms of, can I get a few local clients to, you know, what would it look like to transform the world instead of transform my small community? So thinking more globally. So those are some of the pieces that were important. I got a lot of consult too, because making the transition from full-time employment to self-employment is huge. So the kind of mentorship that I got was really important in terms of understanding in our conversations. So just expect some of these feelings or some of these issues to pop up in your life. I mean, here's what you're going to want to do to handle them. Some of the logistics. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to begin to make sure that you have some financial milestones in place. And then finally,
and I want to just kind of hop in right there, because so many people will just make the jump. Oh, I can't focus doing a job and the business. And I'm like, no! And that's one of the things that we, you know, go into is how you can actually not just transition it smoothly and know what to expect, but no, like you can actually, like within 3 months, right? You had 6 figures in contract work so that you can make the leap confidently without having to.
Oh yeah, you know, I went back and forth between this really false, you know, notion that either I'm just gonna, if I had the time, right? My wife freaked out about that. And then on the other end of that spectrum was, I need to have 1 to 2 years worth of a nest egg before I can leave. And neither of those allowed me to move. I was stuck. But yeah, us working together created a plan to have, you know, enough in the bank to go out to support my family and be thoughtful about it, but also enough in the pipeline to keep it growing, right?
Yes.
So, you know, those two things and how to make that work was really important.
And say more a little bit. So what were the things that, you know, your initial, what was it like to work together? This is because I'm like right here. Initial impressions, anything like that?
Yeah, so I had found Anna as somebody who was already developing leaders in the community, and so that was inspiring for me to watch her be that person. I believe, you know, in the first interaction we had, you described yourself as someone who took a stand for others to take a stand for change in the community, which I think was huge for me. Like that was a sell, like super energetic. And I think what really got me on top of all of that, and this was important because I don't think I believed in myself enough, was you heard the vision I had for my life and you treated me as if I was that vision. Like you just believed in what was possible for me, even when I didn't think I could believe in what I had just said I wanted. So that was really important in terms of how we started working together. And when I get all these different things from you, so in terms of working together, there were some basic things I just expected, right? That you would be responsive, that I would have access to her, but I got more than what I thought. I got somebody who was a mentor, somebody who was a coach, which is what I thought I was asking for, but then it expanded to I got somebody who was a teacher. So teaching me different pieces about growing a business that, you know, was new for me and I didn't expect, that I thought I'd have to go out and hire somebody different. And then a consultant in some ways, you know, part of what you're helping me build is my marketing plan and a big learning curve for me. So having someone that I can lean on to help me think through everything as small in terms of minutia as tools and templates to larger aspects of it in terms of the strategy. So I get all of that, which I didn't expect because I thought I would be paying for a particular slice of what I needed, and then I'd be going out and finding different folks to do it. So to get all of that comprehensively and have that kind of knowledge to leverage is pretty great, especially when you wrap it all together. The sum is much bigger, that I could actually explain.
Very, yeah. Thank you. I didn't pay him to do this.
That's true.
And then share more about the vision side of things, right? Because so many people, they just promote, just you're going to make more money, but I find that that's unfulfilling if all you're doing is burning the wire. And you're talking about how you met people who had been making $200,000-300,000 a year, right? But were traveling all the time and burnt out. So say a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when I started, I thought our conversation would be more around what are your business goals, how are you going to get there? And our conversation was different than that because the business, what I learned, is what drives the life I want. So the question that you asked me was, what kind of life do you want? And I got to have some space to create clarity around what it would look like to have more time to do the things I loved, right? What it would be like to have a kind of life where I'd spend more time with my family, and what would we be doing, and what would that create, right? So would I be able to spend more time with my 2 kids and wife? And if I could, what would that create for us? A lot more connection and laughter and joy. So that's really important because it helps me get centered. Every day makes sense to me in terms of what I need to do, because before that, anything made sense to me and I would get lost in lots of different things that I could do. But now as I think about what my week looks like before I start it, I have a much better sense as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, both in terms of what I want for my life, but also how my business contributes to the life that I want, which is very different than where I was before we started working.
Yes. Very awesome. And I like to call that, your energy flow, your mojo, like having that, people call it peak performance. But no, it's like, how do you be in flow? All we want to do day to day is be in flow. Because even if you meet all your obstacles and goals and you're empty, which so many people face, right? Overachievers, performers, what's the point?
Yeah, it's funny because you called me out. There are a few times where we've been on phone calls and I was engaging in something and maybe who I was being was persistent or I was just trying to get it done. And in those moments, you're like, is your life about just trying to get it done or is your life about something different? And I got in those moments, those phone calls, being able to redefine what was exciting about what I was doing. No, this isn't about just getting it done. This is about contributing. No, this isn't about checking something off on my list. This is about giving back or having fun. Right? I think I was writing an RFP and I just looked at a request for proposal and I looked at it as something I have to do, right? It's just a piece of the job. And instead, after our conversation, I saw it as a really cool opportunity to create like a cutting edge proposal to change his organization. I know it sounds silly, but for me, it changed everything. It changed how I was with my family later that day. It changed the time that I was experiencing writing it, and it changed how I even approached the proposal. So it makes a huge difference.
I didn't know that. That's awesome. So let's talk about the hard results, right? Like what actually has happened. So what results have you created?
Yeah, so I had mentioned that I had tried to launch 3 separate occasions, and I think I'd shared
over how many years?
Over 5 years. So you can imagine how long I had this dream and I wasn't being able to live it. And, funny story, and I think I told you this, even today I'll get credit card offers for those 3 businesses. They come in and I've kept some of them and put them on the wall as a reminder that today I'm living my dream. So the result is A, I'm actually an independent consultant. B, the first year that I had tried this again without us working together, I made $10,000. And I was proud of myself.
Oh, I know. So you made some money.
I made some money. The second year I was kind of in business, which is the first year we really started working together. I made $120,000. So I'd made, the 6 figures that I thought was impossible. And we did that within the first 3 to 6 months. So it was fast. This is my 3rd year. This is our 2nd year working together. And this year, when we started this year, this fiscal year, and I remember I came to Anna and I was like, this is what I did last year. Let's go from 120 to 140. And she lovingly laughed at me. And our goal this year actually got bigger. It was let's quadruple it. And today that's pretty exciting because the question isn't, can I make 400,000? It's what does it take to do that? And I would say here, we're halfway through the year and I've already closed over $225,000 in contracts. So I'm more than halfway to my goal of achieving it. So to me, it tells me that, so those are hard results. And it tells me that I used to think a lot smaller than I realized. And even today, even though I think maybe 400,000 is a great goal, it's reminding me that I continuously have this opportunity to think it isn't about money. It's about having a bigger life, like more time with my family, having the kind of vacations or having the kind of staycations that I didn't think were possible. So I'm continuously growing what I think is actually doable, which is interesting.
Just what's possible, right?
Yes.
Because what's so interesting is there's 100,000 a year. Well, I shouldn't say that.
But I've met some, and they didn't live the kind of life that I wanted. In fact, I wasn't attracted to it. They were traveling all the time. They would tell me that they were missing appointments with their sons or daughters. They loved the money because they could do certain things. But when I asked, hey, you free next week to go to a ball game? I'm sorry, I'm in DC or I'm in India. And that maybe sounded cool to me when I was 21 to 24. But, you know, I'm in my 40s now. I've got 2 kids. I've got a wife that I want to stay connected to. So I'm not saying that's a bad lifestyle. It's just not the one I wanted. And as I've talked to them, it's not the one they wanted. The business drove them as opposed to them driving the business. And that's how I think about it, because when I listen to them, that's what it sounds like.
You can actually ask like your kids, am I successful? And they're like, yeah, because I get to see you.
Yeah.
That's really great, because it busts the myth that more growth means more work, more energy, more time. We're not about that. One of our goals that we'll be actually discussing is how to cut him back to even like 30 hours a week, maybe, you know, like that, so that he can keep living and fulfilling the life you want while still expanding, you know, the actual revenue.
It's true. We just had that conversation a couple weeks ago, and I was like, we were on the phone, I was like, and I wanted to say it's not possible, because that's just where my mind goes. It stops. But that's what we're going to explore, and I do think it's possible. I don't know how. I think the moment I ask the question how, it kills it. And what's most important is, you know, why it matters, and we continuously just connect with that, and then, you know, we'll figure out the how from there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking. Oh, so yes. Okay. So would you recommend me?
Oh, you didn't even have to ask that. I was about to just say, I would recommend Anna to anybody out there, just in general. But if you're thinking about launching a business, if you're thinking about expanding your business, or even if you're thinking about like your business is strong, but you want to take a different look at why you're doing what you're doing and expanding the level of fulfillment that you have with your business, I would strongly recommend Anna, because she brings a different suite of tools. I had interviewed and met with a number of different business coaches before we started working together.
Really?
Yes, I had. And
that was your first one?
No. I have friends who are self-employed, particularly in the real estate business. And you know, I got some pieces that I thought were interesting. I have a much fuller package with you, and that's what I would offer folks out there. Is what you get is much bigger than what you actually could imagine. You're great, and you get results. I mean, and all of that, and we create results. Like, that's what this is about. Whether the result is, you know, having more laughter in my life, or the result is having more money in my bank so that I can do some of the things that I want to do. Whatever that is, right?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. And thank you, if you've gone this far, thank you for your time and really listening, and, you know, your time I know is valuable. So thanks for checking in. And all we want, our hope, is to really unleash more of those mission-driven entrepreneurs out in the world, so that a difference can be made, and you are part of a community of global leadership that we're really causing. So that's what this is also really about, while making lots of money and having the love, you know, the life that you really love. So that's it. All right. Thanks.